moment. And I do believe we are live. Gentlemen, what the fuck is up? We come to you today, Red Pill Smash Bros, with an awesome edition as usual. My name is Corey and, again, John Fitch. And John, go ahead and introduce yourself, buddy.
John Fitch here, MMA legend, world champion.
Oh, yeah.
Brazilian black belt.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Brazilian black belt. Yeah, Brazilian. I'm a black belt with the Brazilian girls too.
There you go. Hell yeah.
No, yeah, just I got a couple sons. I don't like the way the West is headed. I don't like the way things are going. I don't like what's looking out for their future, so I want to do something about it. I want to help other people. I want to tell people the things I've learned about and teach them how to be better men, be more masculine in a positive way, and teach you how to fight along the way.
Sick. Everybody, again, my name is Corey Capella. You can see that below. I am an author, influencer, content creator, all the like, everything that everybody else is doing today. However, my Red Pill journey started a long time ago with my upbringing, being cast into this system of the scarcity mindset and also the gynocracy, which are mixed together. It's a means in which men are raised to believe that they should advocate and acquiesce over to the feminine, which we are starting to see today is not the way to raise boys or to structure civilization. So John and I have come together, understanding today that masculinity is the key to cultivating happiness within a society that will flourish into creating a happy society, or a good society at least, right? Doesn't have to be happy for everyone, but at least it's good. So that's why John and I are here today, as well as our ability to be able to pick up chicks and conclude it with a smash. That's why we are here today. So with that said, I just recently sent John a video. And, I hate to beat a dead horse here, because I believe it was last weekend that we talked about the Amber Guyger case. Is that correct? Yeah, it was last Saturday.
It was. It might have been last Saturday. It's been recent. Yeah.
Yeah, it was last week.
Because there was a few recent things that were showing how women kind of get lighter treatment for similar crimes to things the guys do.
Right. Yeah. It's something that we started off last week talking about it with like the divorce court. Now you're fortunate enough to have a divorce case where it was pretty much amicable because, you were kind of going into it with your heavy weapons already. She didn't want to go into the divorce court because she knew she was going to get hammered. So she's like, hey, let's make this amicable.
Yeah, because she knows that. She knew that she wasn't willing to take things to where I would take things.
Well, you also stated too that she was going to have to pay alimony, so that's the big thing.
She might have to pay alimony, but I would have sunk the ship. I would have rather, bankrupt us both than give her a dime.
Right.
If she would have tried to play some kind of hard shit. So like that's part of my frame, is that I will take things further than my competitor.
Now, I'm still not able to, using Streamlabs right now, I got to get it set up, but every time I switch over to sharing screen, you're not able to talk. So we're just going to talk through the video that we just watched, and I'll just kind of let everybody know what we're talking about. World Star Hip Hop just put up a video. It's jurors in Amber Guyger case speak out on why they sentenced her to only 10 years. And the case comes down to this. So first and foremost, if you guys were to take a look at this, actually, you know what, John? I'm gonna pull this up just so people can see it. Yeah.
And it's man, if you watch this, like, and you're not paying attention, you won't think twice about it.
Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Just a few moments. But first, Marcus Moore joins us from Dallas. Marcus, good morning to you. You spoke with two of those jurors who convicted Amber Guyger of murdering her neighbor.
Yeah, yeah, Cecilia, these two jurors gave us a glimpse of what it was like inside that jury room as they made this difficult decision. And they told me there were sleepless nights and a lot of tears.
I think that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do.
I'm going to pause this real quick, and I'm just going to do a screen split to show people what the jurors look like.
It was more. It was what, 6 women, 4 men?
It was 8 women, right? 8 women, 4 men.
Man.
Wrong one. Starting.
Male.
Yes, he's your typical modern male today. He is, unfortunately, completely beta and cucked out. Okay? So we're going to listen to these people
Which
real
is
quick.
the average. It's the mean right now.
It is the mean right now.
2 of the jurors who found former Dallas police officer Amber Guyger guilty of murdering Botham Jean are speaking out.
There's no way we can ever know what he would want, but I think we all had to make a decision that we could live with and that our conscience could be sound with.
The diverse jury made up of 8 women and 4 men, all of varying ethnicities, sentenced Amber Guyger to 10 years behind bars. These jurors telling us the decision was not an easy one.
There was a lot of crying.
A lot of crying.
There's a lot of crying.
We're told
The
that
guy
they
says.
said between 5 and life. That was like, we didn't have words.
Prosecutors were asking for 28 years.
They were.
You all landed at 10.
After hearing about how his family talked about him, he seemed like just the light in their lives, and he was kind and just
Forgiving.
caring and forgiving. And I told everyone, I was like, I'm really having a hard time with this because we all agree that it was a mistake, and I don't think Bo would want to take harsh vengeance. I think he would want to forgive her, and I didn't feel like I had any right to speak for him.
All right, so we're going to stop it here because we're not going to listen to the whole thing. But that's the biggest.
Yeah,
That's the biggest thing that we need to take away from this conversation right now is this. If you listen to it, both of them say, both of the jurors, and that's what all of them are talking about. This is how I feel. And it's funny because he said, I wouldn't want to put myself in Bo's shoes. But then he goes ahead and does it and says, this is how he would feel because he was a godly man and he was forgiving. So
Yeah,
it's one of those things right now, John, because this is the big thing that we have to talk about. In the grand scale of our civilization today, men's lives are disposable. Women's lives are something to be cherished.
well, it's always been that way.
Right. But
Because of the pure, survival. Rule number 1: survive.
right. Live.
Throughout human
Exactly.
history, survive. Men put themselves out there, take the risk to protect the women because in order for the genes to survive, for your family to survive, they have to be put first.
Well, the
But
crazy
we
part
live-
is now, though.
And I don't even have a problem with that. My problem is the bullshit, fake egalitarianism.
Okay, let's
Right?
talk about that.
The
then.
idea that that's not the way it is, that men aren't disposable, that there's this bullshit that, oh no, that's not true, we care about men as men. No, no, you don't. I'm fine with it. It's okay. That's our job. It's part of our job. It's part of our role and responsibility as men. We put ourselves up there to protect people weaker than us. That's usually women and children. That's fine. But to pretend that that's not a real thing, I think is disingenuous. And I think they do it on purpose because it's we still have to do our duty in silence, but their duty to birth and care for children is not there anymore. So I don't know. We're still expected to sacrifice ourselves for them, but we have
They
to
hold zero
prop them up.
responsibility.
They hold no accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just that's the problem I have.
See, I think my problem here is this. I don't believe there's only one real true double standard that I guess I necessarily believe in. And I don't know if I believe in it as a double standard, whereas I believe in it as just straight up biology. And it's the fact that I do believe that women should remain loyal to one man as best as they possibly can when they get married. I believe men, however, are able to not. I think there's a majority of men out there that shouldn't be monogamous, right? And I don't think that's a double standard, especially if you go into a relationship as an alpha man saying, I'm not going to be monogamous, but I expect you to be loyal to me, plain and simple. Especially
look at our closest relatives and our ape relatives. That's not the way it's done. Not every man is good genetic material and needs to reproduce.
Right. Agreed. Agreed.
You know, just saying.
Agreed.
But yeah.
But that's the only double standard I believe in. But under the law, because we live.
I don't believe there are double standards because men and women are different, and you have different standards for different things.
Okay, but let's talk about it in the context of law then, because
law, that's where it's different, because then it's just human beings. As a member of society, we have to follow these laws. So now you're a citizen. You're not. You're no longer male female. It's just citizen. Citizen A did this thing.
Right.
Exactly. The laws.
And this is the problem that we're facing right now, though, is in all forms of justice, we are still using sex as the means by which we judge people. And I think that's the biggest one. Why is it? Now, do you have brothers?
I have an older brother and an older sister, yeah.
So I don't have a brother, but could you imagine if someone killed your brother? Just with me real quick. Gunned him down. We don't know what the motive was behind this. We don't, you know what I mean? That wasn't discussed.
They didn't even, it wasn't really talked about.
There was it was
happened?
From the get-go, it was considered and believed that this was an accident. Okay? To me, personally.
There's so many questions that I still haven't, I haven't looked as much into it, but like,
did they ever have any other interaction before? Did he cut her off in the fucking parking garage before? That might have set her off. You know what I'm saying? Like, was he
playing his music too loud?
Right. Fucking exactly, dude. There was zero digging into there being a motive here, which is what I believe. I believe there was a motive. I believe this was murder. Okay? Everyone's chalking it up of like, oh, we can't let the girl look like she did something evil, so we're just going to chalk this up as, okay.
Well, I think they just don't believe that she could have done something evil. There's no way. They just won't do that. If it was a man, that's my whole thing with this, is the exact same situation. If everything was the same, if it was a man who accidentally shot a woman, or even if it was another black man, this would not have gone the same way.
No.
There's no way.
How long would he be in jail for?
There would have been riots outside.
Right. How long would he have been in jail for?
Never would have happened. Yeah.
How long would he? It would be a life for a life, easily. There would have been some kind of there would have been some type of character assassination. There would have been some kind of way to show that he was a misogynist or he was a fucking rapist or a molester or some shit.
All his text, all his tweets, everything he's ever done in his life.
There was zero to show that this girl was a bad person. And it's so much so, and this is what is almost equally as repulsive. And this is where I was going. If someone murdered your brother, would you fucking hug them right afterwards?
Well,
would you wait?
The better question is, if it was a pretty woman, pretty white woman, an ugly fat chick, or a dude,
right?
Are you gonna,
right? Which one are you hugging?
Which one are you hugging?
Right.
Probably not the dude or the fat ugly chick.
Right. And this is something that we have. You and I are on the same page right now when we're discussing this. There's inherent bias within people when they see an attractive woman or someone that they want to procreate with. They are willing to just let them go by the wayside. Oh, I see all these red flags. I
think this can be tied to one-itis. Right. The idea that we all have a one, we all have our special one, we all have our match. Right. So what happens if you have that belief that there's a special one for you, we all have a match. We all have that one true love. If you have that in your head already, you're going to look for people to fit that
criteria,
that ideal. Yeah.
Yep.
So you'll look for it anywhere. So you'll see this girl and you'll build up this fantasy in your head that maybe she's the one, even if it's just subconscious or whatever. You're still doing it.
So I'm going to take this in a completely opposite direction. And it ties into what you're saying, but this is going to be insanely inflammatory. But I don't care because it's what I truly believe, especially from what I went down to. I actually blame this a lot on Christianity. I believe Christianity has been the greatest tool to prop up feminism in Western society and paint the picture of one-itis and paint the picture of a beta male being the alpha figure.
It's interesting you say that because, I mean, in recent years, I think Christianity has been kind of hijacked by the feminine.
Well, what if that was the purpose,
original, like some of
was the purpose?
Well, that's what some people I've read about the Romans, why the Romans started to have Christianity instead of what they used to have, and besides, and pushing
Greek
people
mythology.
from away from mythology and the gods and away from Judaism. And the reason was because in Christianity there was this passivity, the turn the other cheek, forgive your aggressor type mentality. Now this is all just somebody's theory, but I think it's very interesting.
This is my theory. Believe it or not, I believe wholeheartedly in this. Look at so if you listen to what the guy was saying in the interview, if you actually continue to listen to further that black woman, and if you listen to the brother of Botham Jean, who is this devout Christian individual, that's where all this sentence came down to. And that's why he went and hugged her afterwards as well, is that Botham was this godly man and he would want her to be forgiven. And the brother had to go and hug her in order to show the world how godly of a person he is by forgiving her as well. And
it's the ultimate virtue signal.
Exactly.
It's like you're not allowed to be mad at people for being fuck ups anymore.
Right.
Well, there's zero.
The other thing
I think that's what the kind of the push is. It's like there's no accountability for some people now.
And
it's like if you're fat, if you're gross, if you smell, whatever, it's okay. You're fine the way you are. It's everybody else's problem.
Oh, dude, I posted up a photo yesterday on my Twitter. I don't know if you saw the photo I posted on Twitter of the woman's feet. Did you see that, dude? Oh my God, I want to throw up thinking about it, dude. Oh. This woman must habitually wear fucking sandals.
I thought you were in the bathroom, and that was somebody's foot in the stall next to you.
No.
Oh, I thought it was a guy's foot. Oh,
no, that's a woman. She was about 300 pounds. She was sitting next to her fucking 300-pound husband. Of course, her hair's dyed pink, right? And they're fucking just disgusting fat messes that don't take care of themselves. And she's so I was at the VA, right? And I'm surrounded by, I fucking hate going to the VA, dude. I had the worst day ever yesterday. Because
I hate going to the hospital at all. Like there's a community of people who just live around the hospital who don't really need to be there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's all these people that are victims. And I sit there and I look at them. And they're looking for something to take care of them, and that's their identity. Their identity is everybody else should give to me, give to me, give to me, because I don't have the strength of character to be able to give to myself. And I know this is going off on a little bit of a tangent, but that's the type of people right now that are predominant within our culture and society. They're takers and they're not givers. They're people that would rather waste their time and their life sitting in an office or sitting in an emergency room because they have the sniffles rather than saying, you know what I could do?
10 hours straight.
What's that?
Playing video games for 10 hours straight.
Well, what I'm getting at too, dude, is this. It's people that want zero accountability for the situations that they find themselves in or the circumstances they find themselves in. And then it's something else that I write about in my book. And this is my biggest argument against religions is that, and especially Christianity, like I said, is now there's this figure that you can just pray to and you could give all of your sin or all of your fucking downtroddenness over to, and they're going to accept and love you just the way you are. And that is the ultimate cop-out in life, is that there is no being, there's no entity, there's no savior that's going to come out there and fucking get you out of your hole and take your burden. There's no one that's going to take your burden and throw it on their back and say, all right, come on, let's go. You know what I mean? There is nothing out there in life. And these people they subscribe and ascribe to these kind of modalities. And the problem is it's a perpetual downslide. You will continue to see yourself just fucking go down and down and down and down. And it's in the case like what we just talked about. Like you mentioned it well. You know, this one-itis mindset. This mindset that I don't have to be accountable for my actions. This mindset that I don't have to go out anymore, right? When you're not accountable to yourself, and when you're not accountable to a society, you can't be criticized. I'm not trying to say that people need to be guilted and shamed, but people do need to be held to a standard. Mm-hmm. Whenever there's a standard placed upon you,
so like, yeah, I get this from a lot of people. Like I can call somebody out for being a shitty person, right? But not
right.
like carry anger and hostility or whatever in my heart, or like it's not holding me back. Like
right. And this is
this person's shitty. This person did shitty things.
And this is the problem I see.
Person,
especially communicating on Twitter. If I have a criticism of something, especially when pointed in the direction of women, it's automatically assumed that I hate them.
Mm-hmm.
It's automatically.
Well, it's an easy argument. When you can't argue an idea, then they attack you personally.
Right. Well, again, this comes down to as well, our society has pretty much let the fucking barn door open as far as holding women accountable to anything. There is no standard anymore. There's zero standard, right?
They're barely. I mean, some of the young men, I don't think are being held accountable either. These people were pushing for socialism and communism. I don't think
they're actually, believe it or not, though, sexual market wise, they are being held accountable to some standard. If we do it on the sexual market, and that is you need to go out and you need to earn a lot of money. So you need to go and get a job where you're earning X amount of dollars for you to be a viable candidate for me. So that's really what it comes down to is. Your standard is go out there and earn enough for me to live comfortably, and then still have open hypergamy on the sidelines with zero accountability within our household. So you provide resources to me and do all this other stuff. I'll give you pity sex here every once in a while, but don't hold me accountable to any other standard. So that's the trade value that we have right now. And then within the justice system, it is literally like we've talked about. It's, I can do all these things. I can be a pedophile. I could steal from a charter school fund. I could go and kill people. I can steal from an entire city, right, for 20 some odd years and get $54 million. But when it comes to me being sentenced and actually charged for this, you guys have to give me the benefit of the doubt and just assume because I'm a woman that, I just made a mistake. Dude, the greatest example of
my
this,
lesson.
The greatest example of this right now is Hillary Clinton. I was a counterintelligence, human intelligence specialist in the United States Marine Corps. I worked directly with one of our biggest aspects of this is actually guarding top secret material. I know that any person who has a top secret clearance is read in, right? You are read into the rules and regulations, the cans, the can'ts, the do's, the don'ts. And then you're also told if you violate any of these things, and these are fucking very strict and stringent policies. If you violate any of these things, here is what is going to happen to you. And by the way, it's no bullshit. She was read in. She was the fucking Secretary of State. You were read in. Right? There's no like, oh, oops, I kind of forgot. I didn't know. There are people around you too, mind you, that fucking sit there and they ensure that you're within.
And she's a career politician too. She knows
all this stuff. Her fucking husband was the goddamn president before all this.
She knows.
Exactly.
Zero accountability.
There's guys in the military that accidentally bring a fucking thumb drive that are serving fucking 5 years in the brig. It's like, what kind of standard can we have in a society?
You can see she gets a little extra boost of, non-accountability because of the political position that she's in. But
I would say it's more to do with fucking daddy.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Same
like
things
being a highborn.
Well, because my critique is that like George W. Right, he's responsible for an illegal war. 1 million people died. Right. He was on Ellen DeGeneres has him on the show, and they're dancing together. Like, he's a clear war criminal, one of the biggest
Yeah.
war criminals in world history.
Right.
And
Right.
Ellen
Absolutely.
DeGeneres is dancing with him. Like, this guy was anti-gay marriage and all this shit, but like he's buddies with her now. Like,
Uh-huh.
so there's just
Because he's elite. Because he's part of the elite.
Once you
Yeah,
get
exactly.
to a certain elite,
Yeah,
like,
absolutely. There's
pass.
no
Mhm.
what's it called?
no
And
accountability. You can say and do whatever you want as long as you're making money for the people on top. That's all that matters.
Right. Absolutely. In my eyes, dude, this is a fucking travesty because there's just such imbalance. Now, I get it. You know, there are perks. There are perks being on the top. But the thing is, I think we talked about this before. As part of being a good leader, though, you have to really minimize those double standards as best as possible, right?
I mean, the thing is, though, you can sit and complain about it, but it's not going to change. You know, we can point these things out, but
Right.
all I'm doing by pointing these things out is not complaining. Like, oh, we got to storm the
Right.
government and make all this.
Right.
I'm saying we as guys, we have to adjust our behavior. Be aware
Exactly.
that you are not going to get light treatment for making mistakes. You will not. You will not get a free pass. You will be held 100% accountable, and you may be held accountable to shit that you didn't even do.
Right.
And that's just what you have to prepare for.
Yeah.
I'm not like going to put on a penis hat and go march Washington, because
that's just ridiculous.
It's unfair that women don't get the same. I mean, it's just the way it is.
Right. That's
I
definitely
get it.
operating
I
in
get
your
it from
feminine if you're doing that too.
Yeah, I get it on a biological level. I
Mm-hmm.
understand why we protect women in that way. I get it. You know, because even the shittiest woman is still valuable because she can get pregnant.
Mm.
Right? Like that survival. We pass along genes. Even the
Well,
worst.
I'll tell you this
possible
one thing
woman
though.
is still more valuable than a lot of guys because, well, they at least can put life into the world. So I get it, but I don't like the bullshit egalitarian stuff that, oh, no, we're actually all equal. Everything's whatever. No, it's not. It's not equal.
Mm.
Like, men sacrifice a great deal and women benefit from it.
Right.
And we should get some, I don't know. I guess we just need to pat ourselves in the back because they're not going to do it.
See, this is where my fight is on this one. Is I come from a perspective. My new book is a means. It's almost like a Plato's Republic in a way, where it's like creating a new society. And the big thing is, and this is something that has been removed from our mindsets in our upbringing, is that we don't understand and we don't have a communication with understanding justice early on in life. Does it make sense? So what I mean by that is this, like, we go through all this schooling and we learn a whole bunch of information, but we never understand how to weigh that information and critically think and apply it to reality. And then we don't interact and then discuss it within amongst a population where there's like a no kidding jury of opinion, a court of opinion. Right now, all we see is news, where we have news feeds where there's blips of information and it tells you how to think and feel right off the bat, instead of you sitting here and saying, okay, I believe back in the 80s, it used to somewhat be that way, where it was like, hey, here's the news. This is what happened. And then it ends. This happened. And then you get to sit there in your living room with people, and then you get to discuss it. Here's the pros, here's the cons, here's the pros, here's the cons. This is my take on it. This is my take on it. Now, it's all based off of quick tidbits of information to make you feel a certain way. And now your emotions. And this goes back to that video that we just talked about. If you listen to the things that both jurors talked about, the only thing they talked about was their feelings. Oh, well, we feel this way, and we felt this way, and we feel this way, and we felt that way. Like, and crying. We cried.
The space, this talking space that you're talking about, it used to exist, right? It used to be men would get together in groups of men, and we would talk about this shit.
Yeah.
We would critically analyze and look at this shit. But somewhere along the way, every single men's space has been hijacked and infiltrated by the feminine.
Exactly.
So now it's just all women's groups. You can't even find a men's group. It's difficult to find just a group of guys hanging out. There's always chicks.
I want you guys to take a look at Sports
start
Center from the.
putting-
Go ahead, keep going. Sorry.
Oh yeah, yeah. You start putting women into the mix, like your behaviors change. You start talking different. Like you
Right.
start talking about feelings all of a sudden, rather than rational thoughts. You're not busting
Right.
each other's balls and trying to defeat each other and conquer each other with facts.
Right. Look at Sports Center. Look at Sports Center today.
I
in
stopped
comparison to
watching a long
Sports
time
Center. Oh
ago.
yeah, I can't do it. Well, now it's on a 24/7 loop. They're talking about somebody's tweets. They're talking about fucking what people are wearing now. They're talking about all this other stuff.
Yep.
Women are on there, and they're like, now there's this whole like head weaving fucking attitude-y thing, right? All this other shit. The guys are fucking giving into the girls on that stuff, and it's like, dude, it's fucking,
I don't
it's
wanna see
entertainment
it.
now.
Like,
It's entertainment
and
now rather than like reporting what the fuck it is.
It's not entertaining to me though. I don't know who they're trying.
Yeah,
to
no,
entertain.
I'm serious.
Their numbers are shitty. Their numbers are shitty. Like they're trying
Right.
to make everything equitable or whatever, but it's
Right.
costing them. Like I stopped watching a lot of these sports back in the 2000s because I just like that was supposed to be like my man time,
Right.
you know. And
Right.
now it's just infiltrated and it's just chicks everywhere, and I don't want to deal with it. As a consumer, I'm not interested.
Right.
Probably give me in a lot of trouble, but like. Sorry, I just am less
It's-
interested in that than
It's like this push for
Yeah, it
fucking
was.
the WNBA.
Hmm.
It's
Yeah,
not.
and
It's not appealing to me.
I'm
It's
not
not appealing.
poo-pooing and telling other people not to watch or be
Sure.
do it if you want, but like yeah, I don't.
To the
I'm not gonna
masses,
watch
though,
it.
it's
not
well
watching
known
it.
that it's not.
I don't watch
appealing.
regular basketball. Regular basketball is not appealing to me.
Right.
Either.
I agree. But
I'm
then
not
you
going
try
to make
to
a
force.
grandstand effort about it and make an hour-long video about why people shouldn't watch them anymore. But
Right.
I-
Well, this
I'm not
also
interested.
kind of goes back down to as well. I don't know what your opinion is on, the U.S. women's soccer team just recently won. What the fuck is it called? Was it the World Cup? Is that what it is?
I think it
Sure.
is.
Whatever. And the entire push during that whole thing was just advertising companies and
More-
fucking all these other people. You need to pay us more. You need to pay us more. We need
pay
to
us
be
more.
we need to be on the same playing field as men because we're doing the same shit.
They're winning more. That was their argument. But then when they broke down the actual pay during negotiations, they realized that if they paid the women the same as the men, the women would actually make less money
Really?
because they went by something about the percentages with their pay. So the percentage of how much money they made was actually going to drop if they matched the men. So they would have made less money because of it if they did things the same as men do.
I
They're
couldn't
actually
believe
propped up. They're actually propped up financially from a lot of outside extra money coming
Right.
into them
That's
that the
the
men
case.
don't have access to.
That's the case. You're absolutely right. And all these companies were sitting there and they were fucking grandstanding and virtue signaling. We're gonna pay these people extra. We're gonna pay these girls extra to make up for it. It's like, is that really a good business strategy? Because let me ask you a question. Right? These are companies that rely on consumers to buy their products, right? Now, if people aren't consuming female sports nearly as much, aren't you going to fucking end up going into debt because your debt to income ratio is not there? You're not having the income flow, but you're trying to force your consumers do not respond well to guilt. It's why, for me, for a little while there, with this whole climate change thing, I was like, you know what? I'll take my best stab at trying to do what I can to reduce my carbon footprint. I'll do it on my own. I'm not going to pay any extra taxes, but I'll fucking recycle more and I'll buy more green stuff and I'll buy those fucking Yeah, exactly.
Don't need to waste. Don't need to pollute. We don't need
Right.
to jump.
But
It's
now
just-
you got this little fucking retard
You've been camping as a
16-year-old
kid.
who's going to fucking sit here and try to guilt me into doing all this shit. And you got
Yeah.
AOC and all these other motherfuckers trying to tell me how to
And-
live my life and telling me
and
that
they
we're
don't
going to
even
fucking...
mention China or India in the
Right,
entire
in the equation,
spiel.
right? Because they have the highest populations of the lowest people that have the lowest IQs amongst
I think
range.
China pollutes the environment, and if man-made environmental change is real,
Right.
and
They do it the
China
most.
does they do like 8 times more than the next
Right.
biggest country. It's like there's no changing climate change. There's no
No.
changing man-made. I'm air quoting man-made climate change.
Right,
There's no changing it without confronting China head up.
for sure.
So if somebody's talking about climate change, we got to save the future, blah, 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 blah. And the
Mhm.
next things out of their mouth are not, we must stop China. They're
Right.
full of shit.
Well, you want to know what their response is to that? And again, it's more guilt. It's, oh, well, you know what? The United States needs to be the one who sets the example and China will
are.
follow.
We are. We're the
No
cleanest country out there. We are.
Well,
We have
here's
like
the
the
thing.
cleanest air, the least
China
amount of waste.
China doesn't give a fuck. They have
We're doing
one
awesome.
they have one objective right now. Become
Make
the
money.
fucking superpower, right?
Yes. Take over.
Obliterate on United States economically. That's all we fucking care about, and we're gonna devastate them. We're gonna devastate them. We don't give a fuck about the earth right now. We give a fuck about being number one and kicking the shit out of the United States.
They're
And
gonna
then we
fuck
have
up
these
China,
fucking
and
dumb
they're gonna
cunts in our
take
fucking
over other
Congress
countries.
that are sitting here trying to guilt everybody else into fucking giving our fucking power and authority over and becoming little bonobo societies. And it's like, you know what? I say fucking no to that. Like, fuck that shit.
Yep.
And that's why, like I said, hey, you know what? Before, I was willing to play ball. When you're sitting there and you're like, hey, guys, you know, could you do your best to, like, do your part? Sure. Now it's this whole, hey, motherfucker, you need to give us 70% of your fucking paycheck so we can put it into this
You can't
fucking...
drive or fly anymore. You can't
Right.
eat anymore.
You got to shit in what you... Hey, listen, I've been there before. When I was homeless, I was living with a bunch of fucking hippies out in the woods. I was composting my own turds. I was doing all this shit. And I was like, you know what? This fucking sucks. This fucking sucks, dude. My showers are constantly cold. I don't have any fucking air conditioning. It's 109 degrees at 7 o'clock in the morning. I have no shade. It's like, there's a reason why we fucking progressed and created civilization.
Yeah.
There's some things that are pretty fucking awesome. Do not guilt me, especially, you know, being a fucking veteran who's gone overseas and has lived in fucking camel turds and fucking sheep shit and all this other stuff in the fucking dirt huts of Afghanistan. Don't sit here and tell me how to live my life when you, this fucking entitled little priss that's had everything fucking handed to her entire life, is going to sit here and tell me how to live life. Like, you have had zero fucking adversity ever. And you're going to come here and tell me that I need to sacrifice more? I got something for you. It's between my fucking legs. It's this nice, hairy fucking ball sack. We can dip that bitch in your fucking mouth for a little while before you go on stage. How's that sound? Seriously, though. Let's do it. Anyway, we're fucking going all over the place today. I love it. So, that's that as far as climate change is concerned with all this guilt tripping stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the video recently?
There's definitely it's just it just all comes back to society's just gotten really soft. It really is.
Mm.
And man, I don't know. I'm hoping that we can lead a positive masculinity resurgence, because a big fear of mine too is like it keeps pushing this really soft direction.
Right.
That pendulum swings, man. So like if it keeps pushing this soft direction, I'm afraid that when it comes crashing back, it's going to be
gnarly.
Yeah.
It's going to be
really
gnarly.
Heavy,
Right.
authoritarian and violent,
Mm-hmm.
and the wrong kind of masculine.
For sure. Well, my goal is this. And, you know, I've deduced all this and I've seen it all. And it's the reason why I'm actually doing this show and doing all my writing. My dream and what I'm essentially trying to do and create is what I actually call War Tribe. I want to create a men's conference where we bring men in for about a week. And we have these discussions that we're having and we talk, but during that time frame, we actually do different types of activities and things to kind of rebuild masculinity. But from there, what I want to do is I actually want to create. So it's going to evolve into, no kidding, what I like to call like a wellness center or centers, what I'd like to call like a learning environment where we can have people come and actually live. And we structure our days kind of according to, it would almost be like a blend of like Greek, samurai, and Native American is the best way for me to like Spartan, samurai, Native American, where we cultivate warriors and we teach men kind of how to live a stoic lifestyle and structure their day. But then we also have it backed by like philosophy and just fucking training to be fucking animals. You know what I mean? Like just total fucking alpha males. And we just impart masculine wisdom constantly throughout. So we're able to like completely restructure and reshape a guy's lifestyle on top of like teaching them game and style and all sorts of different shit for when they go back out into civilization. But that's the thing is we need to initiate men into manhood in that process. And then we need to give them a a structure of what to live by. And, oh yeah, by the way, go and recruit other guys and turn them into your fucking team and your tribe and give them and impart this wisdom upon them as well and the structure. And then we convene over and over and over again. That's what I want to set up. That's my dream. Are you live over there?
Yeah, I'm alive. I was messing with my, I think my battery's running low on my headphones.
Oh, shit. No doubt, no doubt.
Because I'm getting some static or whatever. I was seeing if I can hook my AirPods up. I finally found my AirPods.
You lost them?
Well, they're in a bag. I put them in a bag and they're in a
shit.
side pocket, and they're gone for like a few months.
Oh, dang. Dude, I fucking went and got this little S-clip, little S-beaner, and I attached it to my keys. And that way there, the S-clip, that little S-beaner, dude, those things are strong as fuck. And that way there, I never fucking lose them. Ever.
Shit.
Do it. eBay. So I don't know if you heard what I said, though. I was talking about that fucking structure, that little like civilization / wellness center type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
A total blend between fucking Spartan, samurai, Native American. I love it. I think that'd be ideal. I don't know if you can think of any cultures that had better forms of masculinity.
No, I mean, the Vikings.
Yeah, that's true too. Oh,
You know,
fuck.
Vikings,
Absolutely.
you know, they were very orderly. Their camps, they kept their camps very clean. You know, the women took pride in their role with them. You know, they took pride in their man being a good fighter and warrior.
Right.
They trained the kids to be tough and strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah, they're impressive group. I think their Saturdays were spent grooming. So like
That's awesome.
they cared about their looks. They cared about, you know, their hair and whatever, their pelts.
Hey,
But
I think
yeah,
I take great pride in that too myself, though.
I used
hate
to not.
seeing-
I used to be one of those guys. I was one of those. Oh well, people should like you for you. Your hair shouldn't matter. Your clothes shouldn't matter. Even when I was fighting, like, you know, I was like, I don't want the UFC to push me because I'm good looking or I have, you know, nice clothes or whatever. So I made a conscious effort to like be less sparkly, basically.
Yeah, don't be flashy.
I tried to, looking back at it, probably cost
Gray
me
man.
millions of dollars.
Yeah, be the gray
But
man.
yeah, I was just
That was my
guy.
philosophy for a while,
I didn't
too.
sit much. I sat in the shadows. I just, you know, I just fought hard and trained hard. And that's, you know.
Yeah, I have a
fight-
good buddy right now who's a Bellator fighter, and
But you might as well look the part. Like you look at these old pictures. Like I follow this guy Tanner Guzzi on
yeah.
Twitter, and he's always posting these pictures of real men. It says, the quote is, "Real men don't care how they look," and he'll show a picture of like, you know, Geronimo in this all like crazy warrior gear.
Yeah, no shit.
And these Roman generals and all these other guys who are just, you know, badasses, and like their outfits and uniforms were fucking precise and like super like
And
glamorous.
cut to
almost.
them and fucking
Yes.
exactly, and just it
So-
exuded a characteristic. It's
So I
a
think-
masculine characteristic.
It's a little bit of that mentality. I think that the Christian mentality, like I don't have a negative outlook on the Christian mentality. I think a lot of people have twisted Christianity and its purpose to fit their needs and suit what they think it's supposed to be. Their strategies for control, I think, has messed a lot of stuff up. I don't have a traditional approach as far as like the Bible. I don't think the stories in the Bible were meant to be actual factual accounts of things that happened.
Right.
I think they're just stories that told you about human nature.
Right.
They were stories that
They're
told about
allegorical.
observable behavior,
Yep.
right? Because it's the only way you can ever tell the true nature about anything is to observe it. Observe what it does, how it operates, why it operates. You know, whether it's animals, squirrels in your garbage, or women. Like, so I have a little bit different opinion on that, but I think a lot of people have turned it negative and turned it into, oh well, like the story of Jesus, like, oh well, somebody's gonna save me, somebody's looking out for me, somebody else is gonna do it. Like, I don't definitely don't have that belief. I think the story of Jesus is more of, okay, well, there's this guy who was born. He's a perfect guy. Was born. The parents didn't even have sex to have him. Right? He's a perfect guy, lives a perfect life, helps people his whole life, and his reward at the end of it is still to be sacrificed. So,
Right.
like, he didn't complain. What the hell are you complaining about? That's my take on that story. If this guy could do it, he
It's pretty
died.
gay.
He died for everybody else's sins.
Tell me that's not
and
beta as fuck though.
he was reborn in a man. Well, I take it as this is like me, me going through this divorce process, right? Like I didn't do anything to deserve this, but I'm losing half my wealth. I'm losing access to my kids. I'm losing all this shit. So I can either fight it, bitch, moan, complain, cry about it all the time and not go anywhere, or I can sacrifice my old self, let my old self die so that I can be reborn a new person. And in that process, like I end up saving my children and other people around me. And I think that's the path of the alpha. The idea that you're too good to suffer, I think that's at the heart of that story.
Yeah, there's part of that. I think the problem that I have with that is how pedestalized it is to be this doormat and get walked all over and sacrifice yourself over and over and over again.
Well, I mean, you've got to do things and focus on things that serve you. You know, I think you got to focus on, you know, don't sacrifice yourself for something that's not important or doesn't benefit you or your people.
Sure. Well, I do want to push back on one thing you said, though. You said, you know, I didn't do anything to deserve this. Right? You said I didn't do anything to deserve this to get myself in this position. But the thing is, though,
it's
you did.
true. I did. Yeah.
You didn't have frame. You didn't know. You didn't understand female nature. You didn't understand. You came at it from a beta perspective, and you got churned through the fucking sausage grinder, luckily into an alpha or someone who is red pill aware now of understanding the truth of the reality. I'm in a position now in life where I'm like, you know what? We should at least start teaching men from a very early age, at least whispering this stuff in their ear, not like programming them to believe this. Because the thing is, most people aren't going to believe it, right? You couldn't tell me at 13 years old when I was fucking first starting talking to girls and all about this and in that puppy love phase and all that other shit, you weren't going to be able to tell me that that girl's going to fucking destroy me for being that way. You weren't going to be able to tell me that. At 18 years old, you weren't going to be able to tell me that. But the problem is right now, we didn't have, and I didn't have anybody that was even broaching the subject to plant those seeds in my fucking brain, right? So that when I did start creating those patterns.
we had Dr. Dre and Too Short and Tupac and we just weren't listening.
Right, that's true. I didn't understand it.
We didn't really understand it. We were listening to the music, but we didn't hear it.
We were listening to Nickelback and fucking Creed. Awful. So yeah, that's the direction though. I think that we need to start going though, is we need to start teaching boys a means to take women off the pedestal a lot sooner, and not like get them through the red pill rage way earlier so that they can instead, like we talk about, what's the goal of what we're trying to do here? None of this is actually to sit here and say, guys, go out with pitchforks and start fucking killing all women and hate women and, you know, subjugate them again to fucking chains and all this other stuff because they're evil witches, all of them. No, instead what we're saying to men is this. Listen, this is female biological nature, and this is how you game it. Rise above their nature with your nature and use it to your advantage. Structure your life, create the life of your dreams with a woman in tow if you so desire, right? No hate if you don't want to, but if you want a woman in tow, you got to understand her behavior, so therefore you need to structure your life to understand how she's going to react and behave when you have her in the picture. That's it. That's all it comes down to.
Women do not respond to relationships in the same manner that men do. Don't expect her to have the same feelings and react the same way to the things that you're doing. Right?
Other thing too is this, man, and this is another reason why, again, going back to the Christianity thing, a lot of Christian people that I meet have zero boundaries. They are open arms to everyone and anyone, and they open themselves up to a lot of toxic
I think that's a
people.
newer. I think that's a West Coast newer
You think
Christianity.
so?
Because I'm from the Midwest, and I think that a lot of the Christian people that I know have really rigid frames.
Hmm.
They'll like you and hang out with you and whatever, but they'll the sin is the sin still.
Yeah, that
Type
makes
of thing.
sense. I don't like that term sin that much either.
Mm. Yeah, the behavior that makes me uncomfortable.
Right. I think that people got to learn how to find their left and right lateral limits. That's another thing that's missing from our society today too, is allowing people the leeway to fail.
Mm.
We've coddled our society so much today that we try to make it so that everyone, kind of like what you just said, like there's no suffering.
Mm.
And the fact is,
Yeah,
when there's no suffering, there's still suffering.
That's a lot of the younger generation. I think the millennials and Generation Z is that they weren't forced in a position to suffer. They weren't forced in a position to take on responsibility.
Mm. I went to San Diego State University last weekend. Going back to actually style. I don't know if you guys are aware, but I just started a new kind of series. I started 2 new series. Join me tomorrow, if you guys don't mind, with War Stories Sunday, where I go over and I talk about some of the war stories that I've encountered while overseas. Pretty fun. If you haven't heard my first episode, it's by far my best episode I've ever done up to this point, with anything that I've done. But I started another series where I actually do fragrance reviews, and what I'm trying to help men understand is we're actually going to start going into a little bit more of style, but the best place to first start off is obviously with scent. Fragrance is something that is external from yourself that you can actually project outwards. But the other great part about it too is this. You can wear a fragrance to either impact other people, or you can wear a fragrance just to impact yourself. The olfactory senses are something that are absolutely phenomenal to change brain chemistry instantaneously. I heard a story about a guy who was a 5 on the sexual market, getting onto a bus, and he was wearing a fucking awesome designer fragrance. And he walks past this girl who was like a 6 or 7, and she wouldn't have fucking shaken a stick at him. But the second he walked past and he went and sat in the back of the bus, she turns around after that sense hit her, and she was instantaneously attracted to him because it was a scent that sparked her interest. It registered something in her brain that showed him as a higher value individual because of his taste. There's guys out there that on the sexual market that won't and aren't able to actually adjust themselves unless, of course, style and fitness. But fragrance is something else that's out there, and I just started something new where actually we're going to go a little bit deeper and start talking about different things in different environments. Now, I went out last weekend to San Diego State University in order to go and approach women and have them smell me. And give me feedback on the 2 different colognes that I was wearing, the 2 different fragrances, and in order to give guys an idea of like what, hey, what do these younger college women enjoy, right? Especially if we're going after a set market. And I'll tell you what, dude, I had 2 or 3 girls total out of probably 15, 20 approaches that would even fucking give me the time of day. And what I'm getting at here is this. It was insane because these campuses are just so fucking tailored to this entitlement fucking, it is literally like going to a fucking nursery. And no, seriously, these kids are fucking so entitled that when, and I'm sitting here just like, hey, excuse me, can you do me a favor? Just like,
oh my God, you're talking to me in public?
Right.
Yeah.
One girl told me, she literally looked at me and says, oh, I'm not able to smell things. Like the audacity, dude. Like you're making up a fucking ailment to fucking get out of an awkward. Like I have no scent. I'm not able to do that. Like you couldn't take 2 fucking, I'm a decently attractive dude, but these kids now are so fucking snotty And this is San Diego. This is a super fucking snotty environment, mind you. Where you couldn't take a second and just fucking give a fucking review. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to steal anything from you. I'm not trying to make you fucking buy anything. I'm not trying to do anything really other than have a little bit of fun and have an interaction. But if it's not on their fucking little binky, if their binky isn't there to protect them, and it's not some fucking frat alpha Chad that's coming up to them, and they're not like, you know what I mean, the alpha male of the group, then they're like, oh, whatever, right? They don't care. They don't care about social interactions. But then they'll sit there on their social media and they'll try to pretend as though they have all the fucking solutions to heal the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you guys are an awful, awful group of people in today's world. I that's what I walked away with, at least, was like, dude, we need, like, these kids are so entitled that they don't even know how to interact with people. And they are so entitled that they also think that they're better than every generation that's ahead of them or before them.
Mm-hmm.
Insane. Couldn't believe it. I was just taken back. I was like, this is fucking insane, dude. Insane. What are your thoughts on that?
No, yeah, it's a different world. I haven't had much time.
Crazy.
I haven't had much experience around college campus types. I date younger girls, but I don't spend times in their circles.
Right. Yeah. That's,
You know,
I was in their
go to
fucking crib, dude. It's crazy.
I take them to do stuff I want to do.
Right. Exactly. I think that's what happened with me too, is I'm so used to that. Like, they'll pick me on either Tinder or Bumble. They'll pick me, and then we have like a covert, obviously away from their social environment.
Well,
But then interacting with me in their social environment now was like a fucking taboo.
That's one of the things that guys need to understand too, is that girls are doing, is they have their normal social life. They have their normal social group and clique and people they hang out with.
Mm-hmm.
But then they have their secret dating app profile that no one knows about.
Right.
And that's where they can be a dirty whore.
Uh-huh.
Get away with it, because
And they could
nobody in
have
the
sex.
social circle.
They could have sex with daddy and fucking get
They can
dominated.
have sex with,
Yep.
They can have sex with an old ass dude like me. Have a great time, and then they go back out with their social circle. Like, I'm in bed, I'll take them to dinner, do my business a couple times. I'm ready for bed at midnight.
Yeah.
They'll go back out.
Right. Absolutely.
I don't care.
Yeah. And then go fuck Chad, dude. Crazy.
Who cares? Bye.
It's insane. Yeah, that was a fucking total wake up call. But I'm actually about to move here pretty soon. I'm actually excited. I was stressing out for a little while the last couple weeks. Stressing out because I fucking hate moving, dude. I've moved probably like,
Moving can be stressful. I end up downsizing more and more every time I move.
yeah, I'm actually about to fucking downsize to a studio right now. It's crazy. But it's kind of nice to be able to kind of clean things up and minimalize a little bit and all that other stuff.
Bit.
But I'm going to be moving to a fucking little party town with where all the hot babes are living. I'm pretty excited for that. It's going to spark some new things up. I'm going to do that also because, I do want to pick up that whole fragrance style thing too. And I want to get some no kidding actual reviews, bring girls back and have them no kidding pick out from my collection. These are the best for this, and this. And I want to give guys honest reviews of what they're looking for. I'm also very excited for you to fucking come out here to San Diego.
Yep, I'll be
month.
there November 2nd.
Yeah, dude.
Fit Smash seminar at the arena. I think it's $50, I think.
Sweet.
I don't know if we're doing a early sign up discount, but yeah, I'll be down there teaching Fit Smash stuff. Go 0 to fight ready faster than any other system. Give yourself confidence. I do online stuff also, diet, nutrition. I'll help you with
Is it
style and
is
hair,
it better than
abs.
that? Is it better than that fighting technique that I showed you from that one self-defense class? That black chick.
Oh
that
yeah,
was-
some of that stuff. There's a few guys that put out some really good real world type stuff, but yeah, a lot of stuff is they're just putting out more content and just more crazy shit. Just like with the gym workout videos, people put out crazy gym workout videos. The majority of those workouts are garbage. They're not doing those crazy whatever butt exercise. They're doing basic squat, deadlift.
Right.
But they can't do that. They can't put that post up every single day, so they got to do some kind of crazy shit. But yeah, anyways, November 2nd, I'll be down there. It'll be good, man. I'm excited.
Hell yeah. With that said, hey, if you guys are listening right now and you've liked what you heard so far, please do go ahead. Smash the like button. The good old smashy smash. Give that thing a fucking smasheroo. Also, if you do want to get live updates of what's going on, John and I are on here on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And then I also do a few things on my own too. Please do subscribe. Hit the notification bell. You'll be there. I really do enjoy doing the live stream format more so than doing pre-recorded stuff. It just comes off a lot more natural. I'm more in that state. You know, John and I like doing it that way too because it's more conversational. And, you know, this is really how men grow. We grow from having these conversations and communicating this way instead of having that fucking polished fucking cut.
Freedom of speech.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Like,
This is the essential necessity for freedom of speech. So people can have conversations like this and not feel self-censored.
yeah, I agree. It's huge. It's huge. Let's wrap this up, though. What do you say? I'm going to go over to Hot Dude Party here in a second. If you guys don't know Hot Dude Party, go to Modern Life Dating on YouTube, where we have a panel of men. Today, we're actually going to be talking about financial freedom and finances and kind of the issue going on in today's world with money and the way it's structured. So that'll be a pretty fun little chat. It's also a good way to get other dudes together, and you could hop on if you want to as well. With that said, my name is Corey Capella. Please do follow me on Instagram and Twitter, especially right now. I'm doing a lot of new stuff, like I said, posting up different fragrances, posting up different styles. You'll be able to follow me too and watch my story and see my meal plan and my workouts as well on Instagram. On Twitter, I do a little bit different stuff where I talk a little bit more about my dating and my game and how I have that structured throughout the week on top of, you know, some political banter and all that other good stuff too. So go ahead and feel free to do that. Gentlemen, I also ask, you know, because I do this for free, nothing in life is free. I'm giving out energy and awesome advice. If you don't mind, please feel free to click the link below on my paypal.me and donate if you feel the need and if you feel generous, because that would be amazing. Keep me going a little bit more. Same thing for John. In the links below, I have John's Patreon account. And I think I have something else for you to be able to receive donations. On top of, both of our books are in there as well. You can purchase my book on Amazon, and you could purchase John's book as well in the links below. Just one simple click. John is going to be running a seminar here, as he just talked about, in San Diego, November 2nd. Fitch Smash. It's a $50, I believe, and we will get the link for that as well for you to be able to do that. John, do you have anything else?
Just you got the book. My weekday shake breaks start at 9:30.
Those are fun. I like
West
that, man.
Coast. It's a lot of fun. Take a lot of questions from people, read off everybody's answers and stuff. So having fun with that one. Monday, I believe we'll be starting the first MMA podcast. I'll be doing with Jason Burmis. He does a lot of YouTube work, does a lot of political videos. He's got a large following, so that should be pretty fun. What else do I have? My new website. I redid my website. I've got some more changes, some stuff coming on, modernized it a little bit, but it's looking good. And then check out Fitch and Tinkle Smash Everything. It's another podcast I have with my comedian friend Chris Tinkle. We do a lot of watch-alongs and other stuff. Talk about everything, fights, politics, comedy stuff, whatever.
Beautiful.
Been doing that for a little bit. So I got stuff out there. Check it out. Check out the Patreon. I put up a free technique last week. There's a few free ones up there for you to see. For the $1 tier, I've got my weight programs and stuff. I've got my what else do I have? Oh, my meal plan. So you have a basic meal plan on there too. A lot of other stuff. Check it out. Let me know what you think. And be a little bit better every day.
Absolutely. You know, when it comes down to it, if you follow John and I on anything that we're doing right now, as far as any of the social media outlets that we do, it's really just a means in order for you as men to kind of see how to start structuring your life, adding a little bit more discipline and investing further into yourself to make you the best version of you. So those are free. We all like free. Follow us. Converse with us, right? And also share the content. With that said, we will be back on Wednesday. You good for Wednesday?
Yeah, I'll be good Wednesday this week.
Cool. All right. We're going to be back Wednesday, 3 p.m. West Coast time. With that said, I'm out. I'll see you guys later. Take
Later.
care.